Hi, I'm Catherine Diorio, and welcome to Check Please, the show where regular people from all over Chicago recommend and review their favorite restaurants. So this is how the show works. Every week we have 3 guests. Each recommends his or her favorite spot, and the other 2 go check them out and see what they think. This week, strategy analyst Michael Baer says that his game plan for great food always includes his pick for vegetarian fare with a unique kick. But attorney Abby Israel could argue for her recommendation all night long. She says that of all the bistros in town, hers is the best. Up first, stay-at-home mom Elena Skolnick keeps very busy with twin girls. So when she needs to relax, there's only one place to go. She says for carefree nights and tasty bites, follow her to Illinois Street and join her at Bohemian House.
When you walk into Boho, the first thing that you obviously get enamored with is just the beauty of the space. It's comfortable, it's rustic, it's warm, there's wood, brick, and just beautiful soft lightings. The restaurant is a European-inspired restaurant. So we love to pull little influences from Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, the whole mix of that kind of region, Eastern European and Central Europe, and just bring some great soul-satisfying food to the city. This was hands down one of the coolest jobs I've had in my life. You know, to take something that's kind of underrepresented in the city, especially European cuisine, and has such a heritage and history, and bring it to a fresh new place. And we've had old Polish couples come in and eat pierogi, and she said to me, like, "Oh chef, this is not the pierogi I grew up on, but it's one I can love." And I was like, yeah, that's a cool compliment to have somebody talk about their cuisine and say how represented it well. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel or change the game. We just want people to come in and have a great meal and connect with each other. That's what I love about this place, is there's such a great energy in it when you're in here on a good night. Love it, yeah.
So Alina, you say Bohemian House is a breath of fresh air. Why'd you choose it?
Well, I'm from Eastern Europe. I was born in Ukraine, so when I found out that an Eastern European restaurant is opening up in River North, I knew I had to check it out. I absolutely love it. I love the robust flavors of everything. The decor is stunning. It's almost like from an anthropology magazine. I love the vintage accents, the eclectic lighting, the dark woods. Everything is fried, indulgent, rich, decadent. I mean, you're not gonna lose any weight here. The grilled chicken paprikash is literally the best dish I have ever had in my life, and I never order chicken anywhere. Then the desserts. I mean, you have apple strudel, which is from Vienna. You have the kolaczki, which is a Polish dessert. I always leave there thinking this is something my grandma could make, but also I could have a good time with my friends. So it's bringing modern food to my traditional roots.
I really liked Boho House. I was excited about this restaurant because it's been a while since I've been out anywhere in River North, and I looked it up online and I saw that it had these rich textures and a trendy scene, and put on my best dress and high heels and went to the restaurant, and it did have a very nice chic trendy appeal. The vibe was late 20-something, early 40-somethings. You could tell they were River North residents, some downtown residents, some people from out of town. The light is very dim, so it's got this romantic element to it. It does feel like you're walking into a Czech pub. I did have very good food.
And you're familiar with Eastern European cuisine because you spent time in Germany and Prague.
I spent a lot of time in Germany. I've driven all through Germany. From the south of Germany, I drove to Prague. So it took me back to my days in Germany and the Czech Republic.
So Michael, what about you? What'd you think?
I was a lot more mixed.
Okay.
Like, I'm not the biggest fan of River North to begin with, and so for me, like, walking in, I definitely had a chip on my shoulder. Okay. I was expecting like an overpriced, trying to be trendy restaurant. But I think at the end of the day, I was pleasantly surprised. Most of the stuff that came out was really good. I started off with the beef pierogi, which was pretty cool. There was like a lot of like butter swimming around at the bottom of the plate, and the whole thing was a little bit like heavy for me, heavier than I'm used to, I think.
Okay.
But it was pretty cool. And then I moved to the salmon, which was nice. Like, it had a lot of traditional Eastern European garnishes on it, like garlic rapes and like a type of bean that I've never heard of before. And so I definitely understood where they were coming from. The flavors were okay, but the salmon was pretty much like raw when I got to the center of it. And so I was not like loving that.
I wouldn't get the salmon. If you're going to a specific like Czech restaurant like that, I would try the roasted duck, the chicken paprikash, the schnitzel,
Yeah.
those countries that really focus on those.
I see
So
where
I
you're
would
coming
totally
from,
skip
yeah.
the salmon.
But why put the salmon on the menu if I'm not supposed to order
Well, I
it?
think they want to.
It's actually for my friend who looked at the menu and thought, this is too meat heavy for me.
Yeah.
And she actually ordered the salmon. So it was
Yeah.
actually good it was there because she was really satisfied with the salmon. If it was not there, I think she might have walked out.
Yeah, and I understand that they're like playing to the diners that may not want to engage in some of like the more traditional dishes. Like I saw the chicken paprikash come out, and I was sitting next to a guy at the bar who was eating it, and it smelled fantastic. We also got the spitzel, which I thought was going to be something completely different. It came out as kind of like this spitzel / Emmentaler cheese macaroni and cheese dish, and I was just looking for more of like a dumpling-like side dish, so that kind of threw me. But overall, I mean, it was a fun place. It's definitely a scene. I mean, if you want to go out and have a good time with the beautiful and rich people of Chicago, I definitely recommend going there. I did try one of the mixed cocktails, you know, and it was a little bit too tart for me. I had like the gin and lemonade, what have you. I don't really remember what it's called, but it was pretty good, but it wasn't good enough for me to finish the whole thing.
I had the fashionably Czech cocktail, which is
Fashion
it's an old fashioned with a little bit more honey elements to it, and I thought it was phenomenal. I did have some service issues.
Tell us what happened, Abby.
So I arrived for my 9:30 reservations. We were seated immediately.
9:30 at night?
9:30 at night. That's the only thing I could get because I did
Urban
it last
dining.
minute. So urban dining, I'm okay with that. I'm a New Yorker almost at heart, so it's okay going out late.
Oh, good for you.
We did get our appetizers ordered. She came back 20 minutes later with appetizers, never asked what we wanted for dinner. At 10:30, proceeded to say, "It's last call, do you want anything else?" And we were like, "Can we order dinner?"
So did you eat dinner, or were you?
We actually did get a little dinner in there.
Okay.
And we had the spitzel as well,
Yeah.
and then we went with the pork schnitzel.
So did you let them know that? Did they do anything to kind of try to make it right?
I've met the owner once, and he's super nice. Also, I think they would have given you something like complimentary, like the chocolate custard, which
And
is
they did.
They did.
They
Okay.
did. They gave us the chocolate custard, and it was spectacular. It's the kind of dessert where you want to like stab your friend in the hand with your fork. You're like, you can't take my
You
dessert
can't
away.
take it
It's so
away.
delicious. Definitely made it for it. I would go back.
Alina, you chose Bohemian House. Sum it up for us.
I think it's the best Eastern European food with a twist in the River North.
Great. And Abby?
I think it's a great place for your friends to experiment with Eastern European food who have never tried it before.
Okay. And Michael?
Fun, trendy, a little bit too expensive.
You can try the schnitzel, spitzel, and more at Bohemian House, 11 West Illinois, 312-955-0439. Open for lunch and dinner during the week and brunch and dinner on the weekends. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $43. Michael Bear loves all sorts of cuisines, but one restaurant always hits the spot. He says for vegetarian like none other. Follow him to Devon and stop in at Swati.
The recipes come from my wife. My wife is vegetarian, so she wants to do all vegetarian.
Ready to eat?
She gives a lot of her inner soul into this food. She just gives you the best. Well, the staple food that we have been trained and we know everybody likes, whether we use samosa, dosa, Matar Paneer, which is a very popular vegetarian dish, and naan bread or garlic bread. And then if they want to go into more exotic and more details, we give them a lot of other varieties like the eggplant, all the chaats, which is the street fare. We suggest that to most people that come here because this is street food served in a nice restaurant setting. and they love it. Food is a very personal thing. It's not a business. It is, you have to feel like serving the people. And they're hungry. The number one thing when you're hungry, you need good food. And if you give them good food, they're yours forever.
So Michael, you say Earl Swati spices up your life.
Well, I never said that.
Well, tell us why you chose it anyway.
I really like South Indian vegetarian cuisine. I eat vegetarian most of the time, and I like a lot of flavor and a lot of like adventure when I go out to eat. And this is one of the places on Devon that consistently delivers a really great experience. Their menu is pretty adventurous. They have lots of different things that other vegetarian joints on Devon don't always have. And it's great. It's kind of quirky, but it's BYO. You're not going to go and dress to impress or bring a hot date or anything like that. But if you want to go have some really good food with friends or family and bring a couple bottles of wine, I think it's a great place to go.
I thought it was really good. I've never had South Indian food. I'm always going and I'm getting my chicken tikka masala. So here I was like, I'm going to get the dosa. And I had the Missouri masala dosa,
That's
which
my
is
favorite. That's what I got
with
too.
the really spiced potatoes.
Yeah.
Super tasty.
It's awesome.
I did
With the
feel like they
coconut
used
chutney.
a lot of potato on the menu, though.
Yes.
There's
Yeah,
a
they
lot
did.
of dishes with potato
Yes,
in
I've
them.
noticed that. I thought the food was fantastic. The samosas were amazing, super crisp, super fresh. Everything was brought out hot. The curry dishes, all the street food, we literally ordered everything off the menu because it was super cheap.
Yeah.
However, I don't think the service was on point. It was a little slow, but you know what? You get what you pay for, and you're on Devon Street, which is an interesting street in itself. So overall, I thought it was tasty food, reasonable prices. Love the BYOB, of course, but the service could use a little work. Okay.
So what do you think, Abby? Do you agree with that?
So I get to the restaurant and I no expectations. I actually didn't realize it was vegetarian. I started ordering things off the menu and asked for chicken. And she's like, this is vegetarian. I'm like, that's fine because I do have vegetarian only days. And I felt like you don't miss the meat there.
Yeah.
There's enough options and there's enough hearty options where you actually don't need the meat. We ordered the samosa chat, which is samosas, but topped with yogurt and chutney and chickpeas, and it was spicy, and I finally got my spicy fix in. Was really happy with it. I mean, the service definitely can be a little bit better, I guess, but I felt like everybody was very attentive, as attentive as they could be for it being very crowded. I think this was a Sunday, it was pretty crowded. Family night, there was a lot of families there. They were pretty busy, so I was okay with the service.
Well, I had to kind of ask for the server multiple times, but I mean, which is okay. I feel like the prices were really reasonable, and overall, I think the pros outweigh the cons with
Yeah.
that.
Well, Abby, who would you take there?
Well, I took my mom because she actually likes Indian food, and I know she likes vegetables. So, and I usually do order, even though there was no chicken, I usually order quite a few vegetarian dishes anyhow. And she really loved it. We ordered an okra masala dish,
Yeah,
and she was like,
smells
"Oh my
good.
God, how do they make this? How do they keep the okra so tender without it being slimy?" She was super excited
not
by
easy.
it. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to eat. We had like eggplant, and we actually left a lot of food on the table. You get a bang for your buck there.
So Michael, you go there a lot. What are some other things that you like to order from there?
I get the uttapam. It's like a thick pancake made with chickpea flour, and they load it up with like chilies and onions. It's fantastic. You drizzle some of the coconut chutney on top of it. It's great. I like that a lot. Another thing that I always get is the tarka dal. It's like a yellow lentil dish with some spice in it, and just serve that over basmati rice. It's like plain and simple and really clean tasting. It's kind of like bright and acidic and nice. And the ras puri is another one of my all-time favorites. They bring out like a sweet potato and yam curry, kind of like loaded into this fried puffed whole wheat bread. You drizzle mango sauce on top of it. And it sounds a little bit funky, but honestly, it's one of the most incredible things I've ever had. I love it, especially.
Speaking of carbs, and like
Yeah.
naan has to be A+ on point at every Indian restaurant, and theirs was fantastic, but I love the paratha, which my friend recommended and
Yep.
told me you should try that.
The paratha is like the layered bread with like potatoes or chilies. Which one? Do you remember which one you
It's-
got?
I got the plain just because I wanted to see how it stands by itself, and it was
Sure.
fantastic.
And that was smart because I got the one with onion, and it had a lot of onions in
Yeah,
it.
they
So you
don't
have to be
skip.
onion friendly with that one.
Yeah, my wife usually gets the garlic naan, and it's so great to chase up everything on the plate with
Wow.
it. Yeah, it's like
And
she
I
doesn't
thought
get a
the
kiss.
spices-
No, I bet not.
The naan is all, so they make all their bread in-house, and the naan is made in-house, which is not always common. A lot
That's
of
a
times
shame.
restaurants don't make it fresh in-house, so it's kind of just a nice added bonus, I guess.
Yeah.
So I love literally all things about Indian culture, and I'm totally a sucker for Bollywood films.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
let's talk about the decor.
I mean, you've got like this really bizarre skyline running like across either side of the thing. Like it's like some like nondescript skyline, but it's kind of fun. And then you've got two giant Bollywood screens just blasting the latest coming out of Bollywood television. And whenever we go there as a family, my mom won't let my dad face towards one of the TVs because all he does is watch the Bollywood videos and he doesn't talk with anybody. So it's definitely
just draw you in.
yeah, definitely captivating. My wife likes it a lot too. But no, it's fun. I mean, it's kind of it's cool. And it's a super vibrant and culturally diverse street too. I don't think you're going to find a place like that, you know, in the majority of America is not going to have a place like that.
Right.
Michael, you chose Swati. Sum it up for us.
I think it's a great place to go if you want to have a casual night with great vegetarian cuisine.
Alina?
I think it's a great South Indian gem on Devon Street.
Great. And Abby?
Authentic, aromatic Indian food with a vegetarian twist.
You can try the vegetarian fare for yourself at Swati, 2629 West Devon, 773-381-1010. Open for lunch and dinner every day except Tuesday. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person is $12. Abby Israel knows there's a lot of hip restaurants in Chicago, but she's not the type to hop all over town to try the latest spot. And that's why she says that if you want to wrap your arms around one of the great neighborhood spots in town, follow her to Lakeview and don't forget about Bistro Dre.
I want them to feel invited, feel like they're coming somewhere that they feel appreciated.
Nice to have you with us, young man.
You know, in terms of the aesthetics of the restaurant, this restaurant, you know, I came in here after traveling to France several different times in my, you know, earlier in my career. I always loved bistros. This is exactly what little bistro should be like. If you want to sit in the window, like you're like in a French little Parisian bistro and fall in love, that's great, you can do that. If you want to go ahead and book a party, the communal table, and have a great birthday party or celebrate something, you can do that. Both things can be happening at the same time. The dynamics are there, it's just up to you. I'm free to create whatever I want to create, and I feel like that's so good for somebody like me, for any artist or any person that wants to create, just having the total freedom. I would hope that they say this is one of their favorite restaurants in the city. You know, something that they look forward to coming back to, and you know, and just feel like you're going somewhere where you can just relax, feel comfortable, be who you are, and just enjoy a great meal.
So Abby, you say Bistro Dre beats them all. Tell us why you chose it.
Bistro Dre for me is like soul food meets France, which is one of my favorite places to travel to. There are times when you just don't want to go out and be on the scene, and you want to go to someone's home without going to someone's home. That's where Bistro Dre comes into play. The restaurant's really quaint. It feels like you're in France. The walls are red with ornate paintings and mirrors and maybe about 10 tables. So you definitely have that home feeling. You're seated immediately. You're greeted with, you know, amuse-bouche, which is, you know, obviously French. And you bring your own wine, so it's BYOB, or bring your own bottle of beer if you like. I prefer going there for the fried chicken. They debone it, dip it in buttermilk, fry it up crispy, serve it with a cornmeal waffle, and they serve it with gravy and syrup on the side, so it's sweet and savory. And friends of mine have gone and had whitefish, salmon, something on the lighter side, risotto. It really has something for everyone.
I agree with you that it has a very charming, quaint, like you feel like you're in somebody's home. but I was not impressed with the food. I'm a foodie, and I agree with you, French cuisine is like the best cuisine. And I almost wish I had the fried chicken because, come on, who doesn't like fried chicken?
Right.
But I was there on a Wednesday evening when they have the 3 courses for $25, so I thought it was such a good deal because you get, and I got the French onion soup, the steak and frites, and then I had the key lime pie. I was wishing they had some creme brulee, but that's okay. I thought it was good, but nothing was outstanding. Nothing was like, wow, I'm craving it. And then again, I didn't go for like the fried chicken because I think maybe I would have had a better experience for like a brunch. But I did like the BYOB aspect of it, and then 3 courses for $25 was fantastic.
I liked it. I walked in, we got seated immediately. The wait staff was hilarious. Like, we were getting a little bit of lip and some snark from this waiter, and but he meant it all in
In a good
fun.
way?
Oh, in a
Okay.
fantastic way.
Oh, I have something beautiful to complete this dinner.
Like a way that just makes you feel instantly at
Like
home.
you're someone's home.
Exactly, and this guy was hilarious. I was like, oh, he was like, hey, do you guys need some coffee? It looks like you could use a little pick-me-up. And
Yes.
but he wasn't ingenuine about it. I kind of liked it. And so because of that kind of like homey feel that you talked about, we engaged in like spontaneous conversation with the table to the left of us and to the right of us. And so the folks to the right of us were regulars. They go there all the time, and they were sort of giving me the lowdown. You know, you've got like the son in the back cooking, mom and dad are out front sort of helping with the front of the house. And it was just a very, very enjoyable experience. I felt very comfortable there. It was a great place.
Economical.
Yeah, it's so affordable.
Definitely with
And then you get the
reasonable.
amuse-bouche with brunch too. They brought out little
Banana
banana
bread?
Yeah, and it was so
Yes.
good with like
Soft
coffee.
and moist and a little sweet.
It was fantastic.
That was probably my favorite thing though. And everything else kind of just didn't do it for me. But that was a good aspect.
Yeah, well, when we turn to the food, I mean, that's when the story changes a little bit for me. I did go for brunch and not for dinner. I would definitely go back for dinner, but brunch did fall a little flat for me. So I feel like the bones and the structure of the dish were great, and it sounded really, really cool, like 24-hour braised brisket Benedict. But it comes out, and the brisket's maybe a little bit more chewy than it should be. Or we got the salmon hash, and it really didn't have enough like pop or like zest to really bring it up a little bit. But that being said, it was still a super fun place. If somebody's looking to be blown away by the food, you're not going to get it. But if you're looking for a great casual French experience, you're definitely going to find it there.
And I think it's even more than French. I think it's like global cuisine because there's poutine, which is Canadian.
Yeah, that is a
right?
good point.
There's risotto on the menu, which is Italian.
Yeah,
You've got the
yeah.
fried chicken, which is American. You have the French onion soup, which is French. And so I recommend going for dinner and just picking something that's your favorite comfort food
Yes.
from a different region
Yeah.
and going for it.
Michael, you had said you had a snarky waiter there.
That was great.
And Alina, you had kind of an interesting experience when you even called before going to the restaurant.
Yes, I felt like I called because I like to see, I mean, I have kids, so I have to get, coverage for them, and I wanted to make sure, did they take reservations? I felt like the owner was a little pushy, a little like, oh, come experience my restaurant. And I was like, well,
He's excited.
he's very excited. And so for me, he was pushing me to come try his food, and I just didn't love it.
Good food is
Well,
one
Chef
thing,
Andre,
but yeah.
Chef Andre's, he's interesting with an interesting background.
Yes.
So Abby, it's in Lakeview, close to Southport. It's such a great little neighborhood. Can you talk a little bit about that area?
Yeah, there's a beautiful church right across the street from the restaurant. I'm not sure what the name of the church is, but I think it's been there forever. It's stunning. It's easy to park. You don't need to valet, pay for parking. There's meters. Even the little patio area, which is on the street, has flowers and birds chirping, and you definitely feel like you're still in the neighborhood, even though you're on Lincoln Street, which can tend to be a little busy at times.
Yes, definitely. So Abby, you chose Bistro Dre. Sum it up for us.
So Bistro Dre for me is comfort food on a global scale, set up in Lakeview.
And Alina?
Decent prices, not impressed with the food, but I love the BYOB.
Great. And Michael?
Fantastic atmosphere, food a little bit left to be desired, but great place.
You can taste the steak frites and more at Bistro Dre, 2965 North Lincoln, 773-697-9067. Open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, brunch on the weekends, and closed on Monday. Reservations are accepted, alcohol is BYOB, and the average tab per person is $28. So on this week's show, we featured Bohemian House in River North, Euro Swati in West Rogers Park, and Bistro Dre in Lakeview. Let's recap what our guests had to say.
First, we went to Illinois Street and checked out Bohemian House. Elena recommends it for their robust flavors and traditional roots. Abby loved the chic and trendy interior and the delicious cocktails. Michael thought the overall execution was poor, but enjoyed the flavors. Next, we drove down Devon Avenue and indulged in Eros Swati. Michael recommends it for the adventurous menu of vegetarian Indian fare. Elena said the samosas were to die for. Abby appreciated the amount of options on the menu and enjoyed the cuisine. Lastly, we made our way to Lincoln Avenue and dined at Bistro Dre. Abby recommends it for cuisine where soul food meets France. Elena didn't find the food outstanding, but admired the charming and quaint atmosphere. Michael felt his brunch fell flat, but that the waitstaff lifted his spirits.
We had an awesome time this week. I want to thank my guests, Alina Skolnick, Michael Baer, and Abby Israel. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Catherine Diorio, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.